Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 7. In tonight's show we'll be discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, looking at the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also talk captaincy, reveal our teams, plan transfers and our Cougar Cub picks. Before we get into the show, just want to take a moment to say if you haven't subscribed to us on the platform you're currently watching or listening to us on, then you should do that right now. We're doing previews every game week this season, and in a couple weeks after the November international breaks we're going to be doing more content, so make sure you're right here so you don't miss it. Right, let's get into the game week wrap up with Kieran. And you had a good week.
I mean, yeah, all things considered. Could have been better if I just did nothing again. But yeah, so 54 points. I went from 2.2 million to 2 million. So it's a 200k green, but it's like, oh, it just feels like I've gone nowhere because I'm still on that 2 million mark. It's just like, Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I could have just done nothing and I would have had more points. I would have just had Justin play instead of bringing in Kilman. And I would have, 4 points plus. I would have had 2 free transfers. So, yeah, that's not ideal. So I keep making the wrong decision. But, Kilman was minutes away from a clean sheet. So, and he's obviously got a good fixture coming as well. So hopefully that's okay going forward. But, yeah, so the lesser spotted clean sheets came in this week for me, which, considering how the season's gone at the moment, like clean sheets coming in was good. I think I got 4 or 5 clean sheets this week or something, so out of all the clean sheets in the actual game this week. So McCarthy with 6, which is a surprising one away at Everton, I suppose, or was it at home? I think it was home. And then Eileen with the 6 points, which was nice. So obviously Villa looked so good, so that was a bit of a surprise as well. And then James as well, Reece James with the 8 points. I sort of saw him in the Champions League. He looked great. Thought he's had a Champions League game before and then played the next game when everyone thought he'd be benched. So I sort of started him just in case. Wasn't ready to get rid of him yet. And 8 points there was really nice. Son with the 11, Antonio with the 8, which was nice as well. And Trent, unlucky, could have got an assist, could have got a clean sheet if not for the pen. And then, my third captain blank of this season out of 6 so far, with Salah, KDB and Salah that I've gone for so far, which have blanked, so it's not like I've been rogue choices or anything. So just getting that's just doing my weekend most weeks, basically. The captaincy fails. I
mean, before we get into are you losing faith with Trent a little bit recently? I mean, he's got I think it's 2 points in 3 games now.
Nah, not yet, not for me.
Not yet.
We'll discuss that later.
Okay. All right. On my side of things, it was 44 points, which is 4 under the average. I think I dropped from 700k to just about 1 million. I captained Salah a bit like you, and I watched that first half, and I was like, it just doesn't look like Salah's night tonight. He was wide, and he was in central. Sheffield United were playing quite well, and he was unlucky in the second half as well. I think he hit the woodwork, so
he did score as well. The VAR,
so I mean, on another night, it's a big score, and disappointing one. Other than that, I didn't really have too many returners. My transfer was Harvey Barnes out and Grealish in. He obviously got that 1 point on the Friday night. I benched a clean sheet in Walker Peters and played Mitchell, so I was a bit disappointed to see Fulham scoring added time on that one. Ings and Son were basically my 2 heroes. Ings with another 10-pointer, Son with the 11. And Seiss actually did well for me, obviously getting subbed before they lost their cleaner. So, those were my 3 main point scorers.
The jam.
Yeah,
big jam.
Big jam. All right, let's talk about some players who did slightly better than we did. Manager of the week. Played as triple captain, actually.
Yeah, so it's 2 times vodka, lime, cranberry. Great name again, from Jason Miller.
Nice.
With 106 points for the triple captain played. He played it on Mane, which was nice. The 24 points there. Overall rank of 5.9k, up from 228k. Big jump again there. He had Davies, which is a bit of a strange pick altogether, I suppose, with 6 points. Chilwell 6, Dallas with the 6 with a clean sheet, Son with his 11, Mane the triple captain, as I said, Zaha with 13, which is nice, Ings 10, and then obviously the big scorer of this week with Bamford on the hat trick with 17. So yeah, nice.
Yeah, quite. I look at that team and I say, how's all the money spent? Because it's quite a reasonably priced forward line. And only 1 premium midfield with Zaha there. It's an all right looking squad. I got to say, just in the FPL Cougars mini league as a wider view, our top player or our first place person is actually 64th in the world. Ret-Eye Loma there at the top. So hopefully we'll keep an eye on him and see if he can keep that going this season, because that's great. I mean, looking at those points, 479 after the first 6 game weeks, it just makes me feel a bit sick, really. But yeah, fair play. Fair play.
I think he's about 150 points above me already. Crikey.
Scary. On to the Cubs. Another poor week. I got to choose better this week. Mopai's been a big letdown.
Yeah, your second blank in a row with Mopai.
Mate,
but he got more points, double the points than Aguero did. So, I picked Aguero, who obviously picked up the hamstring injury at half time. So he got 1 point. I actually thought he didn't even play for some reason, and then I thought my backup at Bale was going to come in and get the points, and he didn't even play. So I don't know what Josie's thinking of not starting or playing or even bringing Bale on. Yeah, it seems a bit strange, but 1 point there. So I had Aguero and Bale, and I was thinking I must go big this week, surely. Both of them blanked, but yeah, never mind.
A bit annoying. It's annoying, right? I really want to bring in a player, and we'll probably talk about it. Sorry, not bring in a player. Pick a player for the Cubs, but he's 0.3% over the threshold. Do you know who it is off the top of your head?
No, not sure.
I'll say it now because I can't pick him, but it's Kevin. De Bruyne's down on 15.3% at the minute, so yeah, I think maybe if there's some transfers out while we're doing the show, I'll have reason to bring him in. All right, let's look at the preview. I'll bring our teams up for this game week on screen now. We'll start off and we'll just run through the fixtures, of course, as per usual. First fixture to start talking about is the Wolves against Crystal Palace one. Wolves obviously flattering. Well, it's difficult to analyse them at the moment, I think, because their attacking form just doesn't look right. They had lots of chances against Newcastle, couldn't finish the game, and then sucker punch right at the end. How do you sort of analyse them at the moment, especially going into this one?
Well, I mean, the XG as a team is 3.54, and that's over the last 4 weeks with only 3 scored, which is 18th of all teams. So, they're just not creating anything. Like Jimenez last year was creating a lot as well, but he's basically not creating at all this year. Maybe Traore not starting is possibly part of that. No Doherty, Johnny not there anymore. So I think 2 of their best creative assets are not at the club or injured, and Traore not starting is just seems to be affecting them quite a lot. I mean, Jimenez is obviously he's done well. Like obviously he keeps scoring, but his stats are pretty bad, honestly. He's not in the top 10 for strikers for anything other than shots over the last 4 weeks. So XG, XA, big chances, key passes, big chances created, all of those, he's way outside the top 10 of strikers. So as much as he's reliable, I think he's one you could possibly look to move on after this Crystal Palace game, possibly after the Leicester and Southampton ones when the fixtures do actually really turn. I think he's just a sort of a cash cow at the moment, unless their sort of numbers in the attacking sense pick up.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, he has had some good returns, so it was a good time for people to bring him in before that Fulham game, because after the 2, he's got an 8 and a 9 and 5 bonus points in there as well. But the underlying numbers have really put me off. And when compare him to Ings, which is what I was doing at the start of the season, despite their points being quite similar at this stage of the season, I'm quite happy with the Ings pick, because I think Southampton look a lot better as a team at the moment. Let's talk a little bit about Podence, because we mentioned him on the show a few weeks ago. You had him, brought him in, you got rid of him subsequently. He's just playing second fiddle to Jimenez, isn't he, at the minute?
I mean, I did say he was very anti-football the other week, but I think that was probably a bit harsh. He's had a few shots, like decent shots recently, but they've never looked like really challenging the keeper or anything. He's been taken off early in every game, bar 1 so far that he's played in. So 0, 3, 3 and 3 the last 4 weeks. So at least he's getting the clean sheet before he goes off. But there's probably better options. I mean, he's had 5 shots, 1 big chance and 2 key passes. Not great. XG of 0.7 and an XA of 0.19. So, he should be the creativity for Jimenez, and an XA of 0.19 is not great. So, yeah, possible replacements. Barkley at 6.0 looks good with 11 shots the last 4 weeks, an XG of 1, XA of 0.76, 5 key passes, one big chance created. Souček, obviously, you own still. He's had 10 shots, so only one less than Barkley, and he's $1 million cheaper. So, yeah, and his XG is even higher than Barkley's. But then McGinn, possibly, at 5.5 million with 6 shots. But his XA is 1.47, which is really high for full mids. And then 7 key passes, 0 big chances, but 3 big chances created. So I think McGinn, at the same price of Podence, 5.5, go straight to McGinn with Aston Villa's really good run. I think that he is a really good pick, and I think that would be the one I would go for if I was changing Podence now, unless you have the money for Grealish, obviously. But
I think
it seems good.
Yeah, I think they're all quite decent options. I feel like, I mean, you mentioned Souček there, but I've held on to him now for 6 weeks, and he's got such good numbers for that 4.9 because he's obviously the least expensive of that trio. But yeah, until he actually does any points, just getting 2 points off a 4.5.
Oh, it's coming.
Yeah, I hope so. They've got some good fixtures. Anyway, on the Palace side of things, just briefly, so they're actually not bad away from home this season. They've won 2 out of 3. And surprisingly, their XG on the road has been better than Chelsea this season, 1.54 average per game, which is actually in the top 10 of all teams. So despite them, looking a bit toothless in some home game, or in that home game against against Brighton the other week, Palace aren't too bad. It was Zaha who was the key man at the weekend, and I was a bit regretful that I didn't sort of consider him more over Grealish, because I think they are both the key men in their teams, really. But I think it just comes down to, or it came down to me, especially for just how attacking that team was. And I sort of rated Villa as a bit higher than Palace, really. But Zaha's having a really good start to the season. So, like I say, Palace have averaged 6.5 shots in the box away from home in the last 4. He's responsible for over 50% of those shots. That was his second double-digit haul of the season. I know it was against Fulham and they're poor, but I mean he's still doing it. He's almost bang on his expected points, which is always a good sign. So he's expected points 25, actual 26, and he's at 8 shots in the box. In the last 4 is the 4th highest of all midfielders. So despite Palace not being great as an overall attacking unit, it seems like most of their output is falling to him, and this season, unlike the last couple, he seems to be making the most of it at the moment. So while they're still on this decent run, Aston Villa, Leicester Wolves, I think it's Leeds, Burnley, Newcastle in their next games after this. They're still not bad fixtures.
Yeah, as the thumbnail says for this week, is it time to stop shunning Zaha? So possibly. I mean, the next 5 or even 6 fixtures are so good. Yeah. Like really so good. So he just doesn't work for my setup personally, but I would like him for sure. I've had good memories of owning him in past, so if you could afford him, then why not? Over these next fixtures, just put him in and see what he can do.
It's difficult. He was such a either or between him and Grealish. I mean, Grealish has got such good fixtures as well: Southampton, Brighton, and Newcastle home games in the next 5. So I think it's one or other of those at the moment for me. But maybe I've made the wrong choice.
Defensive wise for Wolves, we're both starting Kilman and Seiss, aren't we? At home to Crystal Palace, we assume hopefully a clean sheet, right?
I hope so. Yeah. Even if Seiss wants to come off early again and get those extra points, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Sheffield United against Man City. I kind of also want to ask you just generally, what do you think's going on with Man City in the league? It seems just there's a lot of problems. The defence isn't right. The strikers aren't right at the moment. Obviously, Aguero and Jesus have been in and out with injuries. Foden seems the best player on the pitch so far this season, but obviously he's not on it all the time. They're in the bottom half for XG in the last 4. 1.1 is lower than Palace, and a team that had 1 shot in one of those games. And 4.75 shots on target faced in the last 4 is the 8th worst record. So, they're looking quite poor in both ends of the field in the league. I mean, Champions League's a bit of a different story.
Yeah. I mean, last night they looked really, really good with Kevin back in the team. They sort of didn't create too much to start with, but then they sort of just coasted to a win in the end, like 3-0. So I think that's sort of what's going to happen here. I think they'll probably struggle for about 60, 70 minutes, probably go 1-0 up, and then probably coast to another 3-0 win or something. And we're probably going to want to get back on Kevin straight away, I think. I think people are probably going to not get him just because of the 2 fixtures after this, which is, I think, is Liverpool and Man United or something like that. No, it's not Man United, is it? It's someone... just
Sheffield
as bad.
Liverpool and Tottenham.
That's it. Okay. Yeah. So I think people are going to be put off on those two fixtures, but I don't know. I think the point gain from KDB at 15% owned at this point could be to get him in now, because he can always perform against top teams. So I don't really think that's really an issue. So yeah, even though he hasn't looked like he ever really he doesn't return twice all that often, very often to be honest. And he's not always a captain option. At 11.5 million, you want him to be a captain option. So. But I think there's definitely points to be made from him. I don't know if Sterling is due a rest because he's played 100 or he's played 90 minutes for the last God knows how long. A lot of fixtures now, including Champions League as well. So, is this a day to rest Sterling? Maybe, because Mahrez can go on the right. That Torres guy can go through the middle as a false nine, as we saw last night in the Champions League. So, that could be a thing.
What do you think on the Sheffield United side of things? I mean, I thought they looked quite good against Liverpool, and they were unlucky not to notch up more goals. It shocked me a little bit considering a team that hadn't scored many this season. I thought they looked quite good going forward.
Yeah, I mean, so their XG is 5.45, which is actually mid-table, so it's not as bad as you'd think. But they've only scored 3, so but their XGC is 7.7, which is 16th. So that sounds like City could do well here. Brewster, someone to mention. A lot of people owned him as a sort of 4.5 bench option, possibly a third striker. Seems a little bit out of his depth. That was his first start so far, and his XG was 0, literally 0. XA of 0.04, 0 shots, 0 big chances, 1 key pass, and 0 big chances created. So I think for the time being, he's just an avoid. If you've got him, just keep him benched for now. But yeah, until Sheffield United and he shows anything, I think he's just a permanent bench. But then, Sander Berg is someone else. 5 million. On penalties? ? I mean, he obviously was this week with Lundstrom missing the last one, but his stats elsewhere are pretty bad. He's only had 3 shots in 4 weeks, 1 big chance, which was obviously the penalty, 5 key passes, which is okay, I suppose. But you probably would never pick him over someone like Souček at the 5 million area. So there's honestly no one really to pick there at the moment. I mean, their fixtures turned fairly okay after Chelsea in 2 weeks' time. They got West Ham United at home, West Brom away, Leicester at home. So those 3 are okay. And then going forward, they're not too bad either. So we might be able to look at a defender again. But I always look at Ramsdale and think there's a goal waiting to happen. I'm sure you have seen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The only player I wanted to highlight on the City side just before we move on just for this one is maybe quite an obvious pick. But Foden is, he's probably the best performing Man City player so far this season. So 3 attacking returns this season is joint most of all City players. He's had 2 in his last 2. He's featured in every game, 45 minutes being sort of the least time he's had on the pitch, and that was against West Ham last time out, in which he scored. So 5.95 points per 90 minutes is the best of any City asset, and although that's only 16th best of all players in the league, I mean, I do think if anything good is going to come through City at the moment, Foden seems to be central to it, and I actually have enough money to go from Souček to Foden, so I have been thinking about it because I don't
think that's a bad shout.
Yeah, his ownership is still quite low. He's down on 8.4%, and Sheffield United is not a bad fixture. It's a shame that, like you say, after this they've got some tough games against Liverpool and Tottenham, but it's not like they're going to sit back in those games. So I don't really worry about, despite their XG being poor recently, I don't really worry generally about Man City's attacking threat really. So,
I mean, you've always not really been keen on Foden before just because of his minutes, but I think this season he's obviously getting more. He's missed like 1 game so far or something. So, but whenever he comes on, he seems to has an impact as well. So
exactly. Yeah, I think he started 4 of the 5 games they played, and then the one that, like you say, the one he came off from the bench, he scored in last time out. So maybe not bad at all. All right, Burnley are hosting Chelsea. Chelsea surprised me. I don't know if they surprised you, but those 2 clean sheets in a tough week, it's great, but it's affected their attacking output, certainly against United. So they only had 1 shot on target against United from 6 shots. 0.31 XG is what they had over the weekend game there, and the average before that was 1.92. So a huge drop-off. Don't know if that's style or just Lampard really wanted, or like a style change, or Lampard really wanted to shore it up. But the player who I highlighted last week, and I'll highlight again while I think it's a good time to do it, Chilwell, again, impressed. So 5.8 million, 17% ownership. He's not really a sleeper at the moment because people are on him, but he could be, for me, a Trent replacement if I'm a bit frustrated with Liverpool's defence. I'm obviously losing Van Dijk, so he's got good fixtures.
Feeling fruity.
Yeah, they're feeling fruity, exactly. One traditional top 6 side in the next 8, and he's produced an attacking return or clean sheet in each of his 3 appearances. He's got the same points as Robertson, 10 more than Trent, and despite playing 3 games fewer. So I mean that's quite a big deal.
Same points as Robertson overall.
Yeah, same points as Robertson overall. 10 points more than Trent. And he's a good price at 5.8 million, and I think he's showing some good attacking threat. So Chilwell's big time on my radar. And otherwise, on the Chelsea side, it's still, even though I have Werner, I'm not looking at him thinking he's definitely going to stay on my side long. I think there's going to be others who are going to do a similar job.
I think you probably got to keep him for this run. No, you'd expect some sort of against Burnley. I suppose Burnley are at home. They could be difficult to break down, couldn't they?
Well, they were for Spurs, and Spurs were like hot in the week before that. So it's only really Chilwell at the moment I'm sort of looking at with Chelsea. I was looking at Havertz for a little bit, but he was anonymous for them last weekend against United. What's there to say about the Burnley? Because I was pleased in a way that they sort of got back to their solidarity of last season a little bit against Spurs, because I thought they shut up shop like they had done. I nearly had Charlie Taylor this season. He's one of those players I look at and think maybe I'll get him for Mitchell when his time runs out. And they look like they were getting back to it a little bit on Monday.
Yeah, so their XGC is 4.62 of the last 4, which is 6th overall. So it's obviously a big improvement with only 5 conceded. So yeah, they're looking like they're getting a bit more solid. Chelsea probably could struggle here. I mean, I think it's possibly a clean sheet for Chelsea, but do Chelsea score themselves? So, I mean, players to mention, their XG as a team for Burnley is 2.46 just last overall, with only 1 scored in 4 weeks. So, Wood and Barnes, I mean, they looked okay against Spurs, but they had a few chances, but nothing of real note. Their XG, as I said, as a team is woeful. So, there's basically no creativity in the team right now. And McNeil is someone who they look for creativity. His XA is 0.2, and that's his XG is 0.03. He doesn't even get even close to 0.05 or anything like that. So, he's meant to be the most creative player in that team, isn't he? So, 0 big chances for him. Only 1 shot in 4 weeks, 5 key passes, and 0 big chances created. So, honestly, they look like they're going to struggle. So Chelsea look good for a clean sheet. Chilwell owners probably absolutely happy there. Me as a James owner and any other James owners out there, not starting in Champions League tonight. So hopefully that means he can start in the weekend. They're probably not going to need that solidarity of sort of Azpilicueta at the back, because it should barely look toothless. So hopefully that means a game for James and Chilwell to do well.
Yeah, well, I hope as well that Werner picks up some points. Like I say, I'm still not that keen on him, and I've got the money to get Kane, but it's just that big haul against Southampton's playing on my mind.
Fair enough.
As a reason to keep him. All right, so we've got Liverpool against West Ham up next. Do we want to start by talking about Mane against Salah, because Mane's just gone and outscored him for another weekend, and the debate's flagged again.
Yeah, I mean, however, the sort of stats are actually levelling out, because Mane's XG was actually massive over Salah's last week, wasn't it? But his XG is actually now lower than Salah's over the last 4 weeks. So, actually, sorry, just a bit higher. Mane is 2.82 and Salah is 2.64. So there's barely nothing in it now for XG. And then the XA is 1.34 versus 2.3. So Salah ahead there. Shots 12 versus 16, big chances 6 versus 4. So it was 6 versus 2 before, I think, last week. So that was a big difference. And then key passes 6 versus 8, big chances created 2 versus 4, and points 21 versus 27. So Salah's winning in points over the last 4 weeks. So I don't think it's like sell Salah to Mane or anything like that, and I don't think Mane is massively outperforming him at all. So Salah should have had, or could have had a haul last week as well, but if not for the VAR. So, I think it's the double up is fine. Again, as I said last week, I think that's fine, but it's pretty hard to choose between them. I think if you've got one, you just keep them for now. If you're looking to buy one, couldn't tell you which.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with your summary. Really, I think like it's difficult to swap from Salah to Mane, and harder to do that than going the other way. And at the moment, just watching those Mane points come in on at the weekend were difficult, really.
Yeah, it's frustrating, but what can you do?
Yeah.
So Trent versus Robertson again that we're going to mention. So that the stats again have evened out here as well too. So XG for Trent is now 0.35 versus Robbo's 1, but the XA is 1.49 versus 1.24. So they're pretty even. So shots 7 versus 3.
Okay. That was in favour in Trent, wasn't it? That one.
It was,
Okay.
Which still is, but Robbo's is, big chances 0 versus 2, key passes 8 versus 9, big chances created 3 versus 2, and points 9 versus 17. Obviously, the points is in his favour, but last night in the Champions League, Trent got an assist, looked really, really good again. Could and probably should have had 3 assists in that game. So I honestly thought he looked very good last night. Again, it was versus a bad team, but West Ham, not that great defensively, I suppose, just in history, I suppose. So I think I'm fine to keep Trent for now. I think he's going to come good sooner rather than later. So obviously the time where he hasn't been good is not great, but I'm thinking hopefully he's good. And Fabinho also got injured in the Champions League, which is another defensive issue. So I don't know if Matip's back soon, but they only have Gomez as their only fit senior centre back at this point. So maybe Milner goes back there, Henderson or something. Maybe they go to a back 3, but then I don't even know who plays in the back 3. So, the defence in general, I mean, their XGC as a team, it was 8.18, which is 19th.
Is that putting... I mean, I know that the Villa game's probably playing on that, but does it still put you off quite a bit? Yes and no, but I just wouldn't want to sell Trent at this point, honestly. So... it puts me off, but I think a lot of people are in the same place, and I don't want to miss that haul because I think it's coming. So, do you see him scoring this weekend? Oh, sorry. Do you see him keeping a clean sheet this weekend against West Ham?
Yeah, I think so. If it looks like Antonio might be injured and out for according to some people, it might be out for 6 weeks. So,
oh, really?
So I think without Antonio and Haller coming in, I don't think they'll be as good. So I think Liverpool could keep... Often when Liverpool have defensive issues, they keep more clean sheets than you expect. So,
like last night.
Yeah, I mean, Alisson coming back as well is a massive thing. So Alisson made good saves last night, and that's going to be big for them. So I think there's clean sheet here, honestly. So
okay, I kind of hope that comes to be the case, because at the moment I feel like I've spent a lot of money on Trent and I'm not getting that return on investment. Right. On the West Ham side of things, I was surprised to look at the table and see them 12th, because I feel like they should be soaring at the moment. So in the last 4, there are only 4 teams in them that are better for expected goals conceded, and they're the 3rd best for total shots conceded per game. Now, bear in mind they've played Man City, they've played Leicester, they've played Wolves. Those are some good teams to come up against. Their numbers are great. I think it's so disappointing, like you say, for Antonio, that he's injured now when just after this game their fixtures are Fulham, Sheffield United and Aston Villa. Such a nice little block of 3 games. Really difficult. I want to shout out Cresswell, really, because I think after this game he could come into our thinking for those 3. So he's 5 million, 6.3 owned, so a differential for those games for sure. He tops all defenders for points per 90 minutes in the last 4, and he comes in at 4th for defenders for expected points per 90 minutes. So showing really that his performances haven't been a fluke. He's had 11 key passes, which is the most of all defenders, and 2 big chances created is the 2nd highest. So I think that Cresswell's shown some really great form, and especially games, like I say, against Fulham, Fulham, Sheffield United and Villa. They could be really profitable. Perhaps not in this game, but maybe just one to monitor over in this one and see how he gets on. What are you going to do with Antonio then? Because, I mean, 4% ownership, he has been a huge differential despite his end of the season, and returned in every other game so far this season. He's performed, the stats are all right. 9 shots in the last 4 games, 4th highest for strikers under 8 million. And tough games. Where do you sort of see him moving to if he is out?
So I think I'd probably just leave him, even if he's out this week. I'm fine with Justin coming off the bench. But coming off twice early in the last 2 games due to this hamstring thing. So I mean, we saw he started this one or the last one against City after being yellow flagged. And he's yellow flagged again, but apparently is possibly worse this time. So I'm just going to leave him at that in the hope that he's fine for Fulham. If he's not, if I hear something that he's not, then I'll just sell him to someone like, I guess, someone like Adams, someone like Bamford, maybe, like that sort of area. But yeah, shame. Those fixtures are so good. That's what I bought him in for. I hoped he would get points in the coming games, which he has done, or the last few games, which he has done, which has been great. But he bought him in for this run of 3 where I thought he could bully teams like he did against Norwich last year. Yeah. So, shame. Let's just hope he's okay. It's not too long.
All right. Yeah, no, I kind of agree. Hope he's back because he could be a really good option in those 3 games. All right, shall we move on to?
If you don't have a good defense or someone to come in, then you may have to sell. But I don't think we're ever going to get actual concrete evidence of him being out, because I don't think Moyes is going to say. No,
he wouldn't drop it. He's their most important player. I don't think he'd go ahead and give that away. All right, should we move on to Sunday? Let's start talking about the earliest game on that day, which is Villa against Southampton.
It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I think so too. What makes you say that?
Just 2 form teams, I suppose. Which team is going to sort of blank first? Southampton have looked better recently, doing well against Everton, obviously, and then Villa, who looked amazing, have just lost 3-0 to Leeds, so who knows if they're going to be crap again now. So I think it's just interesting.
I agree really. I think that Villa made Bamford look like a world beater and gave him so many chances. I think he had 7 shots in the box on Friday night, so if they're offering up that sort of those chances to Ings and Adams, I think this could be a bit of a goal fest on Sunday. So Southampton's got at least 2 goals as well in their last 3 games. They've also kept 3 clean sheets in 4, which is joint top with Wolves and Villa for cleaners. Just comparing Ings and Adam because I think we've got to do that when they both put in a decent performance like they did at the weekend. So that was the first time in his Premier League career that Ings had got 2 assists in 1 game. He missed a good chance too, so he could have had a bigger haul. So since losing to Spurs, they've not lost in form, won 3 of those. So in that time, Adams best Ings for shots in the box by 1. He's better than him on XG by like something stupid like 0.1. So not masses really, pretty even, but the price isn't very even, and he beats him for expected points. Now, I feel like a bit of a broken record saying this, but when you seriously, or mentioned a minute ago, bringing Adams in for Antonio, I really don't think it's as laughable as it would be at the start of the season. Like I think Adams has really stepped up in the last 4 games and really proved he can be a good pick at that price. I mean, 5.8 million, and he's basically now, he doesn't ever play 90 minutes, but he's usually playing 75 plus every week. And if he's getting a goal, which he has been, he's usually quite good on bonus because he's not having many shots. And I think for 5.8 million in this Southampton side that seemed to like play up 2 up top of it, got nothing wrong with him at all.
Next 2 games are good. Obviously this one and then Newcastle home I think is great for them. Yeah. So I may be forced into it, maybe, but at the same time, I kind of just want Justin to come in. So, I mean, Adams has definitely got a higher ceiling, than Justin does. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see.
It'd be a shame to take. You know what it'd be like. That would be a shame to take Antonio out before like this game week, and then you hear Miller next that he's absolutely fit and flying, ready to go against Fulham. That'd be gutting.
Yeah, and then he scores 4.
Yeah, exactly. Talk to me about Grealish, because I was a bit disappointed with him. Like I brought him in, I was, you know what it's like. You bring in a player like, you're all gooey-eyed for them, and then they have a blank, but maybe not a deserved blank. I thought Grealish did quite well on Friday night.
Eileen clearing a shot off the line, so should have had a goal. But yeah, he's 27.9%
That's
owned
big,
now,
isn't it?
I did not realise that. I think he's up to 7.4. I think he might have risen again. 9 weeks of fantastic fixtures coming for him. But yeah, you shouldn't be too disappointed because his stats are very good still. So he's in the top 10 for mids of all attacking metrics other than shots at the moment. So his XG of 2.15 is 6th of all mids. His XA of 1.94 is 2nd of all mids. Big chances is 4, which is joint 3rd. Key passes of 12, which is 3rd. Big chances created of 3, which is joint 3rd. So yeah, I think he's looking really good. And I said McGinn earlier. Like I think Grealish, if you can afford to get to a Grealish from some like opponents or something, then yeah, I think you're gonna do well because he's got 9 great weeks of fixtures. So you just stick him in. He's gonna get you points at some point. So yeah, I don't feel disappointed in one blank. It's gonna come good with him again. So he'll just tick along this season, like he did last season, really. So.
Yeah. No, I kind of just looked at it. Well, it was the expected points I looked at after the game because I'd seen he'd had quite a good game, and like you say, that shot cleared off the line. He had an expected points of 8 against Leeds, and then to end it with 1, I was just like, ugh. So hopefully we got some more weeks to to come back to sort of bring it back around. The only thing that concerns me is a little bit is that he's played 5 games so far this season, and he's returned in 2 of them, and that massive game against Liverpool really inflates sort of his credentials and his stats a little bit.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's such a freak game and sort of point haul. I hope I haven't been like a bit blinded by it, but yeah, we'll see. Because I thought Leeds was a good game at home, and I kind of think this is a good game, and the next one's a good one. Well, sorry, the one after Arsenal, I think Brighton at home. So I'm sort of hedging my bets on these next 2 home games, if you like, as being good qualifiers, really.
I don't think you're getting the clean sheet point from him, so
no,
you might get an Ings goal, so you might be fine there. But yeah, Martinez owners obviously. I mean, a lot of people. I was thinking about bringing in someone like Target or Conso, something like that, or just a swap from McCarthy to Martinez, and I'm glad I didn't, obviously, because the clean sheet run can't keep going for so long because it is Villa. They're going to concede eventually. They're not that good. No. So yeah, but he still got 3 points for 6 days from that game. Yeah. He's never scored lower than 3 points so far this season, and that's super consistent from a goalkeeper. Yeah. Enjoy him while he's at 4.8-ish. Like he's going to be 5 or 5 million next season, I'd imagine. So, yeah, I can see plenty of clean sheets coming still with this run of fixtures. So, if you don't own a defender from that team, it's going to hurt when they get one because they're going to get a few still. So, but like I said earlier, McGinn I think is still a good option compared because I don't think his stats have been that inflated by that one game. So yeah, like I said, 6 shots, XG of 0.37, XA of 1.47, 7 key passes, 3 big chances created. I think he looks good.
I'm a bit annoyed about Martinez really because he's risen in price so quick. I remember having Pope last season and it felt like it was Christmas or January before he'd even like got me a few price rises. And Martinez 4.8, like 0.3 rise after 6 games, maybe even 5 games because they missed that first one. But yeah, it's not fair.
It felt like wildcards across multiple weeks of just everyone getting him, and he's just had to rise. Yeah,
30% ownership now as well. It's crazy. All right, on to the next game of the weekend. Everton. I think they're still top of the table actually.
I think so.
Yeah, and going away to Newcastle. Calvert-Lewin had stormer, or 2 storming games really after. Or playing against Newcastle last season. I think he scored 3 goals in 2 appearances against them, but he finally blanked at the weekend. He had a tough game, no shots, only 18 touches. But I kind of fancy his chances against Newcastle, and he might be a bit of a sneaky outside captaincy pick for some people. No. You're saying no. Oh
no.
Okay, all right. We'll knock that on the head. I just think it's a good fixture for him, like historically. And I think Everton are going to want to bounce back. But I wonder if Richarlison out made a bit of a difference to them at the weekend because they didn't look the same.
No, nor did Rodriguez, who obviously everyone thought he might be benched. And
may as well have been.
I like their fixtures, but I think like Calvert-Lewin seems like a streaky player, and we know he went on that run after lockdown of not scoring or assisting at all. So I sort of feel like even though the fixtures are good, it's tempting to move off him already, actually.
Really?
Weirdly, and enough weirdly saying that. I just don't see him. He looks so poor in that last game that, like, back to his post-lockdown sort of form. And yeah, so really? I don't know. If he blanks in the next 2, I'm tempted to move on.
Oh, but the game after the next 2 is Fulham, away.
No, I know. Those fixtures are so good, but yeah, I want to... I suppose from week 12, where he's got Chelsea, Leicester, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Man City, then you move on. But then everyone's already moving on to then. So, I don't know. I guess I've got the money in him. I can take some profit.
And the rank is going to take a big hit at the minute if he's 56%. You're going to have to time that.
I just can't see him doing that well over the next few. I don't think he scores here, and I don't think he scores West United. So, yeah, we'll see.
All right. The only other, to mention on Rodriguez, I know you mentioned it there. I think he's just been a bit unlucky. I said he's like he was on the bench, but he's just been a bit unlucky not to return on the way away from home. So his expected points at home is 20. This is over like a total over all his home matches, and away it's actually 15. So perhaps the returns will be coming quite soon because there's not as much of a disparity there as I thought there might be. So yeah, he was really close to coming in for me at the weekend instead of Grealish, and at the end it sort of came down to the fact that he might have been injured. So I'm sort of made my Grealish bed and I'm going to line it with him. But yeah, Rodriguez obviously still doing work, up to 8 million now. You haven't considered him in your team, have you? Really, we've talked about this before, but the only person he could really replace is Pulisic there, isn't it?
Yeah, if he looks all right over the next two, then yeah, I could go get him in for Pulisic for those 3 good fixtures. Then fine, yeah. But yeah, Newcastle wise, player wise, Wilson I suppose is the only one really to mention. 6.5 million, 31.1%. Fixtures are sort of awkward, like Everton obviously in good form, Southampton away is sort of difficult, Chelsea at home is difficult, Crystal Palace away is a difficult sort of one attacking wise for them, so and then even Villa after that who look in good form. So yeah, their fixtures are awkward, but you know, Wilson got a return last week without even being on the pitch. He got fouled and then taken off. But yeah, he's only blanked twice in 6 weeks, same as Bruno, for example. 8-2, 8-16, 2 and 5. So that's pretty good for Wilson. Obviously, Wilson started last season in a really rich vein of form as well. He didn't blank for the first 5 or 6 weeks as well. So even though they were sort of like seemed to be getting fouled for assists, exactly what happened last week actually. But so fixtures from week 10 onwards are Crystal Palace, Villa, West Brom, Leeds, and Fulham. So I'm tempted to keep some money in the bank to be able to upgrade Wickham to him straight to and just stick him in for that run of fixtures, and I think he is going to tick along with penalties and stuff like that. I think he could do fine.
How many points, I mean, maybe you know off the top of your head, how many points do you think he is behind Calvert-Lewin, given how much hype Calvert-Lewin's had this season and how little we probably heard about Wilson? Overall points,
it's probably not much. 10-ish.
No, it's less. It's 3.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I was just having a little look at that when I was looking at the Calvert-Lewin numbers, and I thought Wilson is the fact that his price has remained 6.5 since the start of the season. He's been quietly consistent in quite a poor Newcastle team. So yeah, fair play to him.
Calvert-Lewin's not great on bonus for some reason. He scores a goal and he gets 6 points instead of Wilson's 8 points. So yeah, there's that difference. And then Wilson has got a 16 in him, whereas everyone saw that hat-trick from DCL and we're like, oh my god, DCL, he still scored a hat-trick. But then Wilson, he's got a 16-pointer in there, so you know. Yeah,
no, I quite like Wilson a lot. Yeah, if I get fed up of Werner, I do think the sort of like mid to low price forwards could be a good option to invest in midfield. So maybe if Kevin comes back, it could be a way to go. Okay, who are we talking about next? Oh, we've got a big game. We've got a juicy game.
I don't know if it is big anymore, these two.
I know. Man United against Arsenal. Yeah, maybe it's not. I don't know what to say about Arsenal.
Yes.
Do you know what to say about Man United?
I think we just brush over this game. I think it's going to be a 0-0 and everyone's going to be bored of it, honestly.
You watched the Chelsea game and you were bored of it, weren't you? I'm pleased I didn't watch that.
Yeah, I just think Arsenal look so much more defensive this season. Like Aubameyang's being absolutely awful, and just their attack has been awful. I think they're just going to try and defend. I think Man United are going to keep go back 5 again and try and defend, and it's just going to be a shower of crap. That's on your notes for Arsenal's teams, but yeah, I just think it's going to be super boring. Honestly, I think it's going to be a 0-0.
Yeah, Arsenal really strange situation. They've lost back-to-back games. I mean, fair enough, they were against I think it was Poole and Leicester, but 4.3 XG in the last 4 is the 4th worst of all teams, right? So Bellerin actually leads the way for expected points with 19, but that's thanks to those assists he got in a Sheffield United home game, a game they didn't even keep a clean sheet in, and those 2 goals they scored in that game were only 2 of 3 they've had in the last 4. So yeah, none of it looks good, and like you say about Aubameyang, he looks like he's playing left wing back half the time. But yeah, Saka's had the most shots in the box with 7 of any Arsenal player, or beats any Arsenal player. Aubameyang and Lacazette just falling way down the charts. Aubameyang's had 2 and an XG of 0.3. So maybe it's a clean sheet for United this weekend, but yeah, Arsenal, I've got nothing positive to say from them at the moment.
I think I saw a stat on Twitter that said like 50 other players have had more shots than Aubameyang has over the last like 4 weeks or something. It's crazy. And he was supposed to be such a good asset at midfield.
He was going to be our hero, wasn't he? He was going to be like our midfield hero. Reclassified legend.
Yeah, so United side, like I said, maybe just brush over, but Bruno and Rashford have looked okay. They're ticking along. Nothing exceptional right now, but I'm obviously happy to own Bruno at this point, but I think it's going to be a 0-0, like I said. So defense, obviously their XGC has been really bad. They're 17th overall, but it's not as bad as Liverpool's, who's obviously 19th right now. Obviously that game against Chelsea helped in a lot sense of that, the clean sheet. The fixtures are still a bit awkward. Everton after this, Southampton, West Brom. Obviously West Brom's good, but then West Ham United, who look okay at the moment. So I think there's possibly one clean sheet out of the next 5. Maybe this one as well, so possibly 2. But I think you avoid all of them other than Bruno or Rashford right now.
Yeah, no. I think that's a fair analysis of United, really. I'm just, not interested in them at the moment at all, really, which is, totally different as I was expecting this season. All right, another team I wasn't really expecting to want to invest in this season. Spurs. More returns again for Son. Return again for Kane. Nice goal. Nothing like I imagined. Listen to the second half commentary, and heard the goal go in. And I was like, really? Kane's got a flick on, and Son's headed it in from a corner against Burnley. But it happened. What do you think of them moving forward? I mean, we've both got Son. Have we not missed the boat? People comment on the show last week saying we haven't missed the boat on Kane. But do you think we should get on him? And the fixtures still look great for Spurs. Well,
do they? I mean, the next 2 do.
Two do, yeah. West Brom and Brighton.
He's not in my plans at this point. I would obviously like to get him, but there's no way for me to get him right now. Even though the City, Chelsea and Arsenal after the next 2 sound bad, like they've been good on the counter-attack, and Son in behind, Kane providing with balls in behind, that could still be a good way for them to get points. You know what happened against Man United. So, I don't think you necessarily have to sell someone like Son for those games or Kane. They could just be just leave in and see how they go. I suppose they didn't look great against Burnley. To be fair, Son had one other good chance that he would usually put away, but other than that, they didn't really create much. Maybe that's Burnley doing well defensively. I don't know. But, yes, I mean, XG is a team of 10.14, which is second, which is only the first time in the last 5 weeks they've been off the top for
that's interesting
expected goals. So their XGC of 4.07, which was third overall, which we don't expect from Spurs, or lately at least. Their clean sheet prospects haven't been great, but they've had I think it was their first clean sheet actually this season, but the next 2 seem like good clean sheet chances if Davis is coming back in the team and Doherty and that. So Brighton and West Brom, surely clean sheets there. Son last week only had 2 shots, 1 big chance, XG of 0.54. So it's not great, but I mean, he is now the highest scoring player in the game with 69 points, and just above Kane, who's got 65. So the 2 highest scoring players in the game are Son and Kane. Son has had 2, 24, 1, 18, 13 and 11.
Mad, isn't it?
That's huge. I mean, there's hauls in there, and then there's consistent hauls at the same time. There's not just like 6s or 5s. It's just like there's hauls every week, basically. Based on that, he's a huge 19 points above the next highest scoring mid of Salah of 50 points. 19 points above him. Crazy.
Well, based on that, why have you got the armband on Salah this week?
I just don't think Brighton give up that many chances
compared to West Ham.
You're gonna make me want to change it, but I'm keeping it on Salah.
Okay.
I'm just happy with that decision. I think I just always prefer Salah. I don't love his Son as a Kane as a option for captaincy, because, like I said, against Burnley he didn't do much, and I think Brighton can do as well defensively.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, all right. I'm definitely going Son this weekend. On the Brighton side of things, I'm just going to say so much for their early season hype. Really, I think they faltered in back-to-back home games against Palace and West Brom, games you'd expect them to. Well, you would have expected them to win after their early season form. So, and those Mopai Cub picks have just been haunting me for weeks. But yeah, XG of 5.4 is pretty mid-table for the last 4 game weeks, and they're pretty much mid-table as well for expected goals conceded. On the road to XGC of 3 with 5 conceded, so fairly unlucky. But I'd expect them to sort of give up a lot of chances against Spurs. So the player really to mention is Lamptey, because he's, after Ryan, he's the highest owned Brighton player, which is a bit of a surprise because I thought Mopai and Trossard might have had a bit more interest. But I think his ownership is probably due to his 3 consecutive assists in those opening 3 game weeks. 4.7 is a bit of a small investment for him, but no clean sheets so far this season for Brighton. And get this right, he's not in the top 50. I had to double check this because I thought, blimey, is there 50 defenders? He's not in the top 50 for defenders for expected points in the last 4 games. I mean, that's quite poor for their most owned asset. And yeah,
they did actually get 1 clean sheet, but Lamptey was taken off early in that game, so he didn't get it. Yeah.
My bad. But anyway, regardless, he's generally he's not doing good, which surprised me really because I thought his ownership was high. And yeah, like I say about Mopai, he's pretty much dead to me. 2 Cub picks in a row. In those 2 games, he had an XG of 0.4, only 4 shots in the box, 1 key pass, and a total let down. So yeah, the less about Mopai, the better, I think.
Funnily enough, I think he could do all right in this game. Weirdly,
Kieran.
Yeah, he's the sort of player who's just going to really annoy someone like Jose, and I can see him winding up like Alderweireld or Sanchez, whoever's in there, or Dyer, and just getting a penalty off Dyer or something.
Do you think?
That seems very likely. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, I kind of hope that doesn't happen after spending.
You going to triple down? Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not tripling down. Right, Fulham, West Brom, the game no one wants to talk about, but we must because we do it every week. Okay, Fulham. Kieran, I've got to say, Mitrovic, can we just talk about his shots? Had he had 18 in the last 4 I saw or something like that, and like 2 or 3 points to show for it. I thought he's been well unlucky.
Yeah, still had 5 shots last week versus Crystal Palace. 1 big chance, 2 key passes. So he's teasing his owners with his sort of potential for hauls. But next 3 fixtures look decent for returns, possibly. West Brom, obviously West Ham away, then Everton at home. However, he's 27th of all strikers for points over the last 4 weeks. Obviously, because he just hasn't got these returns. Some comparisons here, right? Haller, who has played, Mitro has played all the minutes, right? Haller, the West Ham Haller, who we never mentioned because he just is not a player right now. He's got 25 minutes, played 25 minutes, has got 1 more point than Mitro over the last 4 weeks. Grant at West Brom, who's only played 2 games recently, just come in, has got more points than Mitro. Richarlison, who's been injured for the last 2 games, has got 2 more points than Mitrovic. And then McBurney, who's had no goal or assist this whole season, has got more points than Mitro in the last 4. So that's just a few examples. I could keep going. Yeah. But that's just not good, is it? But he's got a potential. So
yeah. It's because he's so wayward with his shooting. I think he's at 18 shots in the box in the last 4, which is the joint most of all players, which is crazy. But 3 of them have been on target, and because of that, his baseline bonus is actually like -3. He's not good. Anyway, sorry, yeah.
So the only person worth mentioning is Lookman. I mentioned him last week. 5 million, 0.3% owned, so super differential as last week. But yeah, most shots of all midfielders last week versus Crystal Palace of 6. So, but only 1 on target, but 3 in the box, which is okay. Yeah. Accuracy needs to be improved, but he's certainly catching the eye test. His XG and XA are both below 0.3, but if you're really looking for 1 punt this week of Fulham versus West Brom, and you maybe you're wildcarding next week, you want to punt, then Lookman is not the worst shout, honestly. Okay,
interesting. Is that a little insight to your Cougar Cub pick?
Absolutely not.
Oh. On the West Brom side of things, I've almost had to say the same as what I said last week, because they've had the least shots in the box still after game week 6. They've got the worst XG still, but I've got to say they've turned expected goals conceded around. Get this, they're now only 4th worst. Pool of the worst over the last 4 game weeks. I mean, that includes that Villa game, which is amazing. I've just got to say, Johnson again, is the one who's still not at a price rise, 4.5 million. His points in the last 4 are 3, 3, 9 and 5, which pretty good. He's managed 2 bonus points consecutively in the last 2 games. So he's one actually for maybe people who are thinking about like another wild card and they're not sold on Martinez and they want a lower priced 4.5/4 million rotation pair in, because he's picking up saves and he's picking up bonus. I mean, he's not going to get many clean sheets, I doubt, but he's not bad. He's not all bad.
Fair.
Not exactly meh. Leeds, Leicester, last game of the weekend. Is it on Monday? I can't remember.
I don't know. Probably.
I lose track at the moment.
It
It's
is.
just like game after game after. Yeah, it is on Monday. So was the Fulham game. All right, 8:00, ending with a bang. Do you want to kick us off about Bamford, maybe?
Okay, so Bamford, 5.9 million, 28.1% owned. He's only going to go up after that hat trick. I think we both writ him off to start the season. Didn't think he'd continue with Halls. Didn't think he'd continue with or even playing in the team. So, I mean, he's had 7, 14, 8, 1 and 2, and we were just like, oh yeah, okay, this is the sort of thing we're going to start seeing now. But then he gets a hat trick against Aston Villa, who none of us expected either, because we thought Villa looked so good defensively. So he's the second highest scoring forward in the game behind Kane. He's the 4th highest overall scoring player in the whole game. More points than DCL, who's everyone rightly, he's got 56% owned. Who's gotten a lot of praise. So Bamford at only 21%, 5.9 million. He's got more points than DCL. That's kind of crazy. So next 5 fixtures, not that easy. Of Leicester at home, Crystal Palace away, Arsenal at home, Everton away, and then Chelsea away. So those don't look great. But game 12 onwards, if you're willing to sort of keep him during that time or look to get him in from then, he has a really good solid run of fixtures. So can he keep his sort of consistency of returning throughout the season? I mean, I still don't think so. But I mean, he has so far, so I guess we have no reason to doubt him. So last 4 weeks, 20 shots, was second behind Kane, 5 big chances, which is second, key passes of 3, his XG of 3.08 and an XA of 0.68, which is good. It's okay. Goal involvement at 80%, which is only Wilson as high of all players with the most minutes. So if they're scoring or assisting or Leeds are scoring at all, he's involved 80% of the time. So you're getting a return from him most games. Compared to someone at Adams at 5.8 million, he's only 0.1 more expensive. So points wise in the last 4 weeks, 28 versus 26. So there's Adams up there. Considering Bamford just got a hat trick. Shots of 20 versus 8. So that's a big difference. Big chances of 5 versus 2, key passes of 3 versus 2, and big chances created 0 versus 2. So Adams has got the sort of creativity compared to Bamford, but they seem like both good picks if you're looking for a budget forward. You can't go wrong with either of them right now, I don't think.
I mean, is Bamford, has your opinion on him changed now? Is he someone you would have no hesitation bringing in now?
Well, see, like, I have the option if Antonio's out, then I could go to one of them. But I'm leaning more towards Adams, so I guess not. I don't know. I think it's just more just for the better fixtures for the next few for Adams. I think it's just what I'm looking at, but that's me being a dumbass 2 million FPL ranked player right now. I think
if I was doing it, I'd pick Bamford, and probably not just because of the hat trick, but just because he's more of the main man in that team. Like, it feels like Adams and Ings will share points but get quite a lot of them, whereas if Leeds, like you say, if Leeds are going to score, it's quite likely, like 80% of the time, it's going to come through him. So I think we know he's not on penalties though for them, which is a bit of a shame. I suppose Adams isn't either.
I don't think he scores this week. If it helps.
Oh, do you not think? Okay.
I think Leicester keep a clean sheet.
Okay. Oh, that's quite interesting. Well, I think that Leicester's such a hard team to read. So that victory away at City and away at Arsenal, and in between those losses at home to Villa and West Ham, just make it really difficult to read. So they're mid-table when it comes to expected goals conceded. So despite the second cleaner of the season against Arsenal, I'm not sure they're going to pick one up against Leeds, to be honest. I think their attack has been poor in the last 4 despite the 2 victories, right? So get this, they've had an XG of 4.09, which is the 5th highest in the league, but they've only had 6 shots in the box in the last 4, which is joint worst, tied with Newcastle. So I think
they didn't even have a striker last week, did they? Until Vardy came
it was
on.
ridiculous.
Strange.
Yeah, after all the early season promise I thought I had in Harvey Barnes, and when they went to City and scored 5, I thought, ooh, Leicester again. And yeah, they've just sort of reverted to being very hard to read. So I could see Leicester clean sheet here, and a good win. Anyway, so
I thought you just meant to say the Leeds clean sheet.
Sorry, I didn't know it. Sorry, I did mean to see that. Yeah, Leeds clean sheet.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, players, Vardy is still owned by 17%. It was his first open play goal of the season. He's only a one top 6 side in the next 7, so I don't know if it's the right time to invest in him. But maybe it is, because apparently 25% of all of his Premier League goals have come against traditional top 6 teams. So could be a time to look at him. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it's a bad shout to bring in Vardy, because their fixture run is quite good, to be honest. Leeds, Wolves, Liverpool, Fulham, Sheffield United, Brighton, Everton. That sounds alright. Yeah. And he's going to be a big differential now. Well, maybe not big, but 70%. Yeah. But we know he can score goals, so
it's just those.
I don't think it's too bad.
It's just those attacking stats. I mean, how reliable are they going to be for penalties? But maybe they will be. We don't know. It's hard to predict with that. But after Vardy, there isn't really anyone to get excited about. So he's got expected points of 17 in the last 4, despite not playing one of those games. Next best is Tielemans, who's on 9.8. So yeah, it's really Vardy or bust in there. Schmeichel did have a good game at the weekend, but I'm
just hoping for a 0-0. If Antonio doesn't start or is out, Justin's going to come in for me. I think it could be a 0-0. I think I saw a stat on Twitter from FPL Nobody Is Safe. I think it was that strikers have only averaged 1 shot in the box against Leicester the last few weeks.
Wow.
So that sounds pretty good in terms of a Leicester clean sheet. And Leeds have looked a lot better defensively as well. I think Eiling has looked good, and I can't believe he hasn't even risen yet. Eiling, he had another chance of going through on goal and having a shot blocked this week. So I think he's had one of those every week so far. But he actually was playing in a normal centre back role this week instead of just a 3. So still going forward. His stats are really good. He's got 4th for XA of 1.07, only behind Cresswell, Trent, and Robbo. He's 5th for XG of 0.66. So that's him doing XG and XA, and that is really rare, as I've said before, in a defender to get both, of looking like he can score and assist. And he got his clean sheet this week. I feel like there's still more to come, obviously, with those stats. So I think there's a whole loading for him. And same with Dallas. His XG is the first of all defenders by some distance of 1.36. He's had 6 shots, second, which is only second behind Trent. Yeah. So I think there's a whole loading for him as well. And I think there's big value in Eiling and Dallas this year. And I'm happy to own. Obviously, the fixtures are a little bit tough, but I think they could probably keep a clean sheet, possibly here, possibly against Crystal Palace, possibly against Arsenal as well. So there's 3 possible clean sheets in the next 3.
Yeah, I'd say if I was repicking my defence now, I'd have Ailing in there 100%. I think he's a really good pick, and I love your new Hall loading expression. We're going to be introduce that more. Do a little Hall loading feature.
Salah's Hall loading this week instead of Son.
No, there's big Son points this week. Anyway, let's do the wrap up. So captaincy, I haven't swayed you then, have I?
I don't think so. I think just Salah's just got better stats still. Even just in the game where he blanked last week, I think he had better stats than Son. So
okay.
Just going off stats still. Really.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough. I think I'm just going to keep it on Son just because I kind of fancy that Brighton at home fixture more than, like you say, more than the stats. And he's played well at home in that game against West Ham. It was. Okay, and transfer-wise, we're sort of talking about it a little bit because of Antonio. I'm probably going to hold. Do you think I've got my defence right? Maybe people will comment and say. So at the moment I'm playing Trent, Seiss and Mitchell, and I've got Walker-Peters and Lascelles on the bench. I'm sort of going off the fact that I think Palace are going to keep it tight and Wolves will score sort of 1 goal maximum. I kind of think Everton will score against Newcastle, and I kind of think Villa will score against Southampton, but maybe Walker-Peters rather than Mitchell.
That's the only one you would change, I think. So I'm not sure.
I might even play Walker-Peters instead of Souček against Liverpool, maybe. But just Liverpool's defence has been a bit rumbly recently, so I'm not sure. But
how do you feel about those 2 of sort of really low sort of price players in your starting 11 each week?
Not,
do you mind that?
Not really. I might get. The thing is, I've had Souček for 6 weeks now. I kind of feel like after this game week 7, he's got those 3 nice games in a row. So I may as well keep him there. And he's only in there because I had such premium players at the start, and the fact that he's there gives me a bit of flexibility to move around a little bit. So yeah, he's not the end of the world. The more pressing issue still is Ramsdale, because I mean he's just dropping like a little stone, and he's giving me nothing really. So I might even go to Johnson sometime. But yeah, for now, I don't think I'm going to do any transfers. Foden was looking at me earlier in the week, but I'm just either going to keep it as it is or play Walker-Peters over Souček.
Yeah, that sounds good. For me, I think it's either Antonio to possibly Adams if he's out, or it's tempting to go Pulisic straight back to Kevin,
right,
honestly.
Okay.
Even though, I said I think Burnley could keep it tight, but maybe I should just give Pulisic a chance still. Or it's roll it. I think rolling it seems good, and play 5 at the back, let Justin come in. 5 at the back is going to be awkward, but might be something I have to do this week. So it's Antonio or nothing, or a James to Chilwell maybe, but I don't think that seems right this week.
No.
It's the upside of going Pulisic to Kevin maybe, but I don't know.
I was actually going to say on that point that Chilwell, he's one player I've also considered transfer as well. Mitchell to Chilwell, I've got enough to do that, but I'm not sure. I do really like him, but if I was going to, I kind of don't like having too many expensive defenders in my squad, so especially after last season, so I'm a bit reluctant there.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, I think that's everything bar our Cougar Cub picks for this week. I think it's your turn to go first.
You're going to laugh.
Oh, you're not going pie, are you? Oh my god!
Oh, yeah.
What?
See, I did have.
That's so bad.
I thought it was really hard this week. I was looking at it, I was just thinking, maybe I shouldn't go Mopai, but
away against Spurs. It's not even a good fixture. At least I was doing it against Palace and West Brom. You got no excuse if it goes wrong next week. Are you changing your mind?
I was going to go Zaha as well, but he's 24%. I was like, oh no, surely not. Yeah. Okay, all right, fine.
No, you got.
I'll go,
you can. You,
no. I'll stop changing it now. I'm going to go
because the show hasn't ended, right? You can still change. Okay,
McGinn. All right, I've talked him up, so McGinn.
All right, blimey. I'm going to go Callum Wilson because he's still owned by less than 15%.
Yeah.
And
I'll have a backup of Jota.
Oh yeah, okay.
I don't think he starts, but I think he comes on, and I think he could get something because he's looked good when he's come on.
He has looked good. All right, I'm going to go for backup of Lookman. Because you talked him up, and also I'm quite confident Wilson's going to play, so it's all right. Anyway, this is going to be fun because one of the additional bits of content we're probably going to do is we're going to do
McGinn's not scoring. That's an awful pick. Why do it?
We're going to do a separate. We're just basically going to divide the Cougar Cub picks into like a more of a differential chat for each game week, so there'll be more of this and a separate show, but we'll get to that next month. Anyway, right, I think...
Can I change it? Is that too late to change it? No, I'm not going to change it. I'll save it for next week.
All right, the show hasn't ended, so you probably could change it, but maybe... You've had 2 goes at it, Mopai and...
Yeah, you're right.
We'll be all right.
No, it's fine.
All right, okay. That's it from us until next week. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. Good luck for Game Week 7. Goodbye from me.
Cheers, everyone. Good luck.
Bye-bye.